When Tony Beets needs more gold and less time to get it, he does not look for help outside the family, he looks for someone who shares the same blood, the same instincts, and the same zero-tolerance relationship with underperformance. Welcome back, and if this is your first time here, this is where every Gold Rush episode gets the breakdown it deserves. Tonight is Season 16 Episode 18, Like Brother, and Klass Beets has arrived at Paradise Hill to push production towards 6,500 ounces with the season now closing fast. The Dozer rescue goes completely sideways. Tony stacks gold bricks. Parker Schnabel and Ness are both still pushing toward all their targets with no margin left to absorb any more setbacks. Here is the full breakdown of what happens in Gold Rush Season 16 Episode 18. The decision to bring Klass Beets into the operation at Paradise Hill is not a casual one. Tony Beets does not call in reinforcements because things are going smoothly. He calls in reinforcements because the target is hard, the clock is running. And he has identified a specific gap in his operational capacity that needs to be filled before the season runs out of time. 6,500 ounces is what Paradise Hill is chasing in Season 16, and with the end of the season visible on the horizon. Tony is in the phase where every single production decision carries outsized weight. Klass arriving on site is Tony's answer to that pressure, an operator he trusts completely, who works the way Tony works. And who understands without being told what is expected when you show up to a Beets operation during the closing weeks of a Klondike season. The title of this episode, Like Brother, is doing more than just describing the family dynamic at Paradise Hill. It is drawing a direct line between Tony's operational philosophy and the brother he has brought in to extend it. Klass Beets is not a supporting character in this story. He is an operator in his own right, and the way the two of them work together on site in Episode 18 reflects a shared understanding of what Klondike mining actually demands at the highest level. There is no learning curve when Klass arrives. There is no orientation period. There is just a man who grew up in the same environment as Tony Beets, who developed the same instincts under the same conditions, and who knows exactly what this kind of ground requires. That is what a secret weapon looks like in the Beets family vocabulary. The flooded Dozer situation in Episode 18 is the kind of operational disaster that Gold Rush has built careers around, the moment where a straightforward recovery task turns into something that threatens to consume time, money, and equipment on a scale the operation cannot easily absorb. A Dozer going down is never a small problem on a Klondike mining site. The machinery is expensive, the ground is unforgiving, and the window for getting a flooded piece of equipment back into service without causing further damage is narrow. What makes the Dozer storyline in Episode 18 particularly significant is the timing. This is not early season, when there is room to absorb a derailment and recover. This is the closing stretch of Season 16. And every hour that the rescue operation consumes is an hour that is not going toward the 6,500 ounce target Tony has committed to hitting. When the Dozer rescue completely derails in Episode 18, it is not a failure of effort or planning in isolation, it is the Klondike doing what the Klondike has always done to the people who work on it. The ground on these mining operations does not negotiate. It does not cooperate because the calendar says it should. A flooded Dozer in the wrong location, in the wrong conditions, at the wrong point in the season is a problem that compounds on itself the moment the recovery attempt goes sideways. The team at Paradise Hill finds that out in Episode 18 in real time. The decision-making under pressure that this situation forces, how much resource to commit to the rescue, when to change approach. What the cost of continued failure actually means to the season total, is the kind of operational drama that defines the difference between a Klondike miner and everyone else. Against the backdrop of the Dozer crisis and the arrival of Klass, Tony Beets stacking gold bricks in Episode 18 is one of the most satisfying moments the season has produced. Gold brick stacking is not incidental on Gold Rush. When Tony stands in front of a row of processed gold bricks, it is the physical representation of everything the operation has produced, every shift run, every yard of gravel processed. Every equipment decision made, every hour of the season accounted for in solid form. The number of bricks in that stack and their weight behind each one is Tony's running answer to the question of whether Paradise Hill can deliver 6,500 ounces by the end of season 16. In episode 18, the stack says the answer is still yes, but the Dozer situation and the calendar both say the margin is getting thinner. Klass Beets on site at Paradise Hill changes the operational dynamic at Paradise Hill in ways that go beyond simple headcount. Tony runs his operation with a specific set of expectations about how work gets done, how decisions get made, and how problems get handled when they arise. Most people take time to calibrate to those expectations. Klass does not need to calibrate. He arrives already calibrated, already aligned with the operational culture of a Beets mining site, and already capable of making the kinds of independent judgments that allow Tony to extend his reach across more of the operation simultaneously. In a season where the production window is closing and every operational hour counts, having an operator of that caliber arrive on site is not just a boost to morale. It is a genuine upgrade to what Paradise Hill is capable of producing. Parker Schnabel's storyline in episode 18 runs parallel to everything happening at Paradise Hill with its own set of pressures and its own countdown clock. Parker has been managing the Golden Mile with the kind of methodical intensity that has always defined his best seasons. And the closing weeks of season 16 are finding him in the same position every serious Klondike miner ends up in, doing the math on what the ground has left to give and whether the remaining operational time is enough to close the gap between where the season is and where it needs to finish. Brennan Rouault on the Eastern bench continues to be a storyline worth tracking closely as Parker evaluates what the handover of operational responsibility has produced and what it means for the final push toward the Golden Mile's season target. Rick Ness at Valhalla is carrying the full weight of the episode 17 bedrock decision into episode 18, 3 days of work torn back and redirected. And now the closing stretch of season 16 stretching out in front of him with less runway than any miner wants at this stage of the year. The 1800-ounce target is still alive, but the margin has tightened to the point where every wash cycle either moves the number or falls short of it. There is no buffer left at Valhalla. Rick knows it, his crew knows it. And episode 18 makes clear that the response to that reality is not to slow down or second-guess the decision that was made, it is to run the operation at the level it was rebuilt to reach and trust that the ground redirected toward holds what the bedrock reading said it would. Parker Schnabel's storyline in episode 18 runs parallel to everything happening at Paradise Hill and Valhalla with its own set of pressures and its own countdown clock. Parker has been managing the Golden Mile with the methodical intensity that has always defined his best Klondike seasons. And the closing weeks of season 16 find him doing the math that every serious miner does at this point in the year, calculating what the ground has left to give, what the remaining operational hours can realistically produce, and whether the gap between where the season is and where it needs to finish is still closable. Brennan Rouault on the Eastern bench remains a storyline worth watching as Parker evaluates what handing over that responsibility has produced and what it means for the Golden Mile's final push. If Tony calling in his brother as his secret weapon for the final push of season 16 is the kind of gold rush episode that keeps you coming back week after week, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a breakdown from this channel. We cover every episode with the depth these miners deserve. Comment below, does Klass Beets make the difference at Paradise Hill? Does the Dozer derailment cost Tony the 6,500-ounce target? And does Rick Ness have enough runway left at Valhalla to still hit 1,800 ounces before the season is over? Real answers are coming in the final episodes of season 16. We will be right here for each of them. Gold Rush season 16 episode 18 is called Like Brother, Like Brother. Tony Beets called in his secret weapon tonight, and what that means for the 6,500-ounce target at Paradise Hill plays out across the episodes remaining in season 16. The Dozer went under. The rescue went sideways. The clock kept right on running. The gold bricks got stacked. And Klass arrived on site and ready to work. 3 things happened in episode 18 that matter going into the final push: a setback, a milestone, and Tony Beets doing what he does when the season demands more than the operation is delivering. He brings in the people he trusts. He asks more of everyone on site. Whether that is enough to close 6,500 ounces at Paradise Hill is the question Season 16 has left to answer.